Now, Uber, the mobile car-hailing app company, has joined up with Thames Clippers for the launch of a new service today. Uber Boat will allow consumers to purchase tickets for boats on the River Thames through the Uber app. More than 4.3 million people use the Thames for commuting, and the new service is expected to add to Uber's revenue lines at a time of significant pressures for the company. Well, I'm joined now by Uber's Regional General Manager for Northern and Eastern Europe, Jamie Hayward. Jamie, welcome to you. How much are the fares going to be compared with the existing Thames Clipper service?
Sean, we're delighted to be here. So the fares will be the same as they have been previously. The benefit that we will be bringing is obviously making it easier for riders to access the service.
And how will you split the revenues between yourselves and Thames Clippers?
So we're not going to go into the commercial details of our partnership with Thames Clippers. I think it's important if we take a step back. We've, for the last few months, in support of government, been asking passengers to not travel and to stay at home. So what we've been doing now, as lockdowns are easing, is to start to redesign every aspect of our service with safety in mind. In June, what that meant is we mandated masks for riders and drivers on every trip, and since then we've sent out over 1.6 million free masks in the UK. And what we're also trying to do is make sure that cities build back better. So the partnership that we're announcing today between Uber Boat and Thames Clipper is a way of helping London and Londoners get around safely, comfortably, and in space. And I think that's important because what we know is that if just 1% of people moved from public transport and started driving themselves in private cars, that would lead to a 20 to 25% increase in road congestion. And so clearly private cars are not the answer. And so we at Uber, we're committed to trying to build additional capacity in London's transport infrastructure, and we think boat is a key part of that mix.
Now, when I was a fledgling financial journalist, a very wise old man said to me, no one ever makes any money out of the river. Is this actually going to be a profitable venture for you?
We certainly hope so. Last year, there were 4.3 million people who travelled on Thames Clippers. And we know that, as we've spoken to them, more than 40% of those people who've travelled want to travel more because they think it's a safe, spacious and comfortable way to travel. So hopefully Londoners will be better as a result of this partnership.
Now, separately, Jamie, you're waiting on a Supreme Court verdict on whether your drivers are contractors or employees. What will be the consequences for you if you lose that case?
So I'm not going to speculate on the case, but what I will say is that whatever the decision, Uber remains committed to offering drivers both a flexible way of earning an income, but also security and protection in the case that they get injured or sick and are unable to work.
Now, that's not the only court date that you have. You also have a date with Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, over he revoked your licence. What are you going to do if you lose that?
We do. So in September, we'll be going into the Magistrates' Court to appeal TfL's decision from November to not give us a licence. So we've been working very closely with TfL since then to ensure that any concerns that they have are fully addressed. There's nothing more important than safety, and we're committed to continuing to raise safety standards in London.
But if you lose, I mean, London is I think I'm right in saying your only profitable market in the UK. If you lose this, will it pull out of the UK altogether?
No, we remain committed to staying in the UK. And I think the Uber Boat partnerships shows us not just are we committed, but we're also committed to growing services that work for Londoners in a new post-COVID reality.
What about the competitive situation right now? Two of your biggest competitors, Captain and Free, now have just got together. Is that going to eat into your business at all?
I think it's great. I mean, the big competitor that we see is the private car, which actually accounts for the majority of trips happening on London's roads. So anything that we can do and our competitors can do to make sure that people have access to safe and affordable transportation in London that isn't driving themselves, the better.
And how about Uber Eats? Again, the competition there is hotting up a bit. We've just seen Amazon take a stake in Deliveroo. We've just seen Just Eat Takeaway announce plans to buy Grubhub in the United States. Is this going to be a longer-term, as profitable business for you as you anticipated, do you think?
Yeah. So just as the COVID crisis has been a difficult crisis and a difficult few months for us and anyone who is working in transportation in big cities, actually what we found is that Eats and delivery and home eating has thrived. So we've seen very, very strong growth in Eats, and therefore I think it remains a core part of Uber's future going forward.
And in terms of the core car-hailing app itself, what's traffic been like in recent weeks? Are you starting to see a pick-up in activity?
Yeah, so we in March and April, in the sort of depths of the crisis, we globally had seen our rides volumes down about 80%. Since then, we've actually seen significant week-on-week increases, though it still remains below the levels that it was back in January. The use cases that are coming back is actually visits to friends and family and commuting. So, you know, we'll watch that, but we remain optimistic that we have a core role to play in helping London grow back in a post-COVID world.
Presumably this lockdown in Greater Manchester isn't terribly helpful for you.
Well, I think the most important thing is keeping riders and drivers and citizens safe. So just as in London, when the lockdown happened in London in April, we closed our pool service because we felt that was the right thing to do. So our priority is to make sure that cities are safe. And if that means changing our service and adapting our service to make sure that happens, we're completely committed to doing so.
All right, Jamie Harewood, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining me.
Sean, thank you very much.